Alright, let's grab the materials from the kit. Now take the pattern and cut along the black lines. Once you've cut out all the pieces, it's time to transfer the pattern onto the fabric. You'll notice there are some markings on the pattern. Make sure to transfer those markings onto the fabric as well. Trace the pattern onto the fabric. After you finish one side, flip the pattern over and trace the other side. This is called mirror tracing because the gloves are mirror images of each other. On the pattern, you'll see some shaded areas. These show where you need to leave extra fabric. If the shaded area is inside, leave extra fabric on the inside. If it's outside, leave extra fabric on the outside. Now grab the short for white fabric. This will be used for the lining. For one pair of gloves, you'll need to mirrored pieces per glove, so 4 pieces in total. For the paw pads, use the long fur white fabric and cut to mirrored pieces. The back of the paw will also use the long fur white fabric. Cut to mirrored pieces for that as well. For the tiger stripe fabric, cut to mirrored pieces. Pay attention to the direction of the pattern and the fur should run downward. For the pink paw pads, cut to mirrored pieces. Don't forget to also cut to mirrored pieces from the short fur white fabric for the lining. Now let's learn how to tie a knot. Thread your needle. Wrap the thread around the needle 3 times, then pull it tight. If you want the knot to be bigger, you can wrap the thread around a few more times. We'll be using 2 types of stitches for this project. The first one is the overlock stitch. Start by pushing the needle through the fabric and pulling it out. Then loop the thread back and pass the needle through the small loop. This will secure the thread. Push the needle back into the fabric at the same spot and repeat the loop to create a neat edge. Keep repeating this for the entire edge. The second stitch is the back stitch. Push the needle through the fabric, then go back to the previous stitch hole. Move forward a bit and push the needle through again, then come back to the previous hole. This stitch is neat and strong. Alright, let's start sewing. First, use the overlock stitch to sew the pink paw pads. Line up the edges of the fabric and start stitching at one of the marked points. Leave a small opening to stuff the pad later. After sewing, place the lining piece you cut earlier behind the paw pad to make it easier to stuff. Remember to leave a small gap for stuffing. Once the pad is stuffed, close it up using the same overlock stitch. Next, let's work on the bare face. Use the pattern to poke small holes in the fabric to mark the placement of the face. To sew the eyes, start by sewing a straight line in the middle, then add more lines around it until the eye is completely filled. For the nose, start at the center and sew outward in a diagonal direction. For the mouth, connect the 2 marked points with a straight stitch. Then, add a vertical stitch through the middle of the mouth. To make the bear's ears look more 3-dimensional, you can gather them slightly by pulling the thread tight. Now attach the paw parts to the gloves using the backstitch. Sew the lining to the main fabric. But only sew between the marked points on the wrist area. Once the paw pieces and lining are sewn, stack the 2 glove pieces together with the lining facing outward. Sew along the edges using the backstitch, but leave the tips of the fingers open. If you want to add a label, place it where indicated on the pattern and sew along the dotted line. After that, carefully cut the openings between the fingers. Be careful not to cut through your stitches. Finally, turn the gloves right side out, and they're done. Why do I love crafting? Because every handmade piece is filled with my time, energy, and love. It's unique, created by me, and completely one of a kind. So give your handmade piece a name and remember its birthday, because it's truly special.